I'm live. Here I am. Welcome to Growing Gratitude. I am Becca Laurie Hector, your host for Growing Gratitude, and here we are on Monday at 11:30 a.m. and we are going to talk about what were the challenges of the past week and how we are going to motivate ourselves forward. And of course, what things we are grateful for along the way and any little glimmers and all of that fun stuff. So, welcome to Growing Gratitude. I'm happy to see you guys here. It's another week. And I for sure have things that I want to talk about. First of all, I figured out the lighting situation. Ta-da! I have been working on this lighting situation. I think it's almost a year now, and I am finally semi-satisfied. I am like 98% satisfied, and that's probably as close as I'll get. But I'm really excited. My little favorite lamp is right to my right now, which means when I'm sitting at my desk, I get to look right at it, which is amazing. So thank you for joining me here today. I'm excited to talk to you guys. So let me get off these sunglasses and we can start talking about some real things. Hey, Alex, how are you? I'm so excited to have you guys this week to talk about some like good fun things and then some also more serious things. So I think we're gonna roll with some serious things first, and then I'm gonna go ahead and move along to some less serious things and just some reminders and all of that kind of fun stuff. So welcome. Welcome to Growing Gratitude. This week, let's talk about it. I don't know what it's been like for you guys, but for me, I am so ready. Oh, thank you, Bill, who says my sunglasses make me look particularly well lit. Thank you. The whole point of the sunglasses is you cannot miss me. And instead of them being subtle, they are in your face, right? Non-apologetically. So thank you. I am really excited about some of the things I figured out this week. And as you know, that's always my big thing, right? No matter the struggles that I'm going through, what does the struggle have to teach me? What are the lessons I can take with me into the next one, right? Because we all know those struggles and challenges aren't going anywhere. They are a consistent part of our life cycle. And so, how do we make the most of it when shit happens? Is basically right what we're talking about. And so, one of the shit things that happens to me on the regular is that my depression really can come around and become an insistent burden. Ooh, that's not very good. I just said that in this moment, and that is exactly how my depression feels, like an insistent burden. I don't think I've ever said it more clearly before. And so, yeah, that's one of the things that I've been dealing with. As you guys know, if you watch all the time, or if you don't, go back and catch up. I struggle with seasonal affective disorder, or seasonal depression, people call it as well, right? And that can come in any season for you, whatever triggers your depression. Some folks say the heat does it for them and they feel like they need to be safe in the air conditioner. For me, it's the lack of sunshine. It can be anything, right? It can be the time of year because of holidays or birthdays or a traumatic event, right? That creates a seasonal depression for folks. But anyway, I am in like the height of mine. These are the shortest days of the year that we are in right now. And on the shortest days of the year, I really, really struggle because a couple of different things happen, right? So I feel like it coalesces together. It's not only are we in the naturally shortest days of the year, right? When we are following that cycle, the natural cycle of our planets and such, this is the time of year where we don't have sunlight and where we notice that animals stop being so active. They hibernate, right? They keep out of the cold. They slow down, do less, right? And then as the sunlight picks back up, so does the natural energy of outside, right? And so when that happens for us, because we are what animals, of course, right? When that happens for us, we have, as humans, have decided as a society, we're just going to ignore that. Did I get water on myself? I did. Look, I got water on myself. Anyway, that we're not going to pay attention to that. We are, as human beings, going to go against the grain and say, no, we are just going to change our clocks. We're going to change our clocks and still work just as hard and try to keep up the same amount of pace that we keep up all year long, right? And that feels a little crazy. It feels crazy because it feels very unnatural to the rhythm of everything else, right? Like we're fighting against that, right? And so I've tried to adjust for that in the last few years. I've tried to prepare myself for the seasonal depression, but every year, even though it's the toughest time of year for me, I learn the most about myself in this time of year. Um, because naturally I'm spending a lot of time not out in the world interacting, right? My interactions are limited. I live somewhere where it is bitterly cold in the winter, right? And so we just stop doing a lot of the things that we do around here. We just kind of really cozy in for like a month or two, right? December, January, that kind of thing. And then as the natural world starts to wake up again, so do we, right? But our jobs force us to ignore that, right? Our jobs force us, and our society is forcing us to ignore that. And so then you've got that, right? So you're fighting against your body's natural inclinations, the outside world's natural inclinations, right? And then if you've got any other onboard mental health conditions, right, that you're dealing with, that is the perfect storm for them to be like, "Oh, look how vulnerable you are." I feel that's the voice that my mental health disorders conditions have, rather, right? They speak like that to me, and they say, like, with all kinds of judgment, like a Disney villain. That's how my mental health conditions sound, like a Disney villain, right? And they're like, "Oh, look how vulnerable you are, Becca." Right? I'm gonna come and I'm gonna sneak into your thoughts. And once they get in, they like multiply like bacteria, those thoughts. It's really awful, right? And if you're not careful, you can just kind of succumb to that, to those thoughts, to that loop, right? And that's why we say, even in the wintertime, make sure you get out and exercise, and doing things and stay involved is good for your creating things is good for your mental health, right? Because what we want to do is, oh, here's a reference. Like, we don't want to be in the whole Artak Atreu situation, right? In this whole thing, and we want to be pulling ourselves actively out of the mud, right? We don't want to die. And so that's what that motion does. It's like keep swimming, right? Just like keep swimming. We have to keep in motion in some way. Fine. Depression makes that really, really hard, because at the same time that all you're naturally having low energy, the depression also gives you what feels like to me low motivation, right? And so this time of year, it becomes impossibly difficult to really, for me, it is my hard time of the year. And I'm sure there are other people who also struggle, but this is not to say this should be your hard time of the year, but these are reference points for whenever your hard time of the year is, right? Not my hard time of the year. It just happens to be mine right now. And so I spent the whole kind of weekend, I spent a lot of time this weekend actually alone. And this past week, I had some extra, 2 weeks ago, I had some extra time to myself. The world is slowing down a little bit, and I can feel the energy shifting outside, and I want to shift with it. But when I do, my depression crawls in. So how do I strike a balance between that? So I didn't this week, and I tried to give in to rest, and it was really, really nice. I like just said, there's nothing that I can do. And I fought through the anxiety of feeling to be busy and all of that stuff. And I just laid into it this whole weekend. And that's when I realized that there is no amount of rest. And this was my big takeaway from this weekend. There is no amount of rest or sitting still or doing nothing, right? And no amount of keeping busy or anything else really that can completely keep the depression away. And this battle is so hard, right? And I was like, why? It's just so different, right? Than all of the other challenges that I face. It's more challenging to me than my autism almost all the time. Right. And it's so always changing. It ebbs and flows, and it's hard to catch, and its triggers are hard to find. And it's just so complicated. Right. And it's just, you get to a point where you're like, "Ugh, I don't know anymore." And that's when I realized this thought, which was that it's so hard because it's a battle with myself, right? So like if you are having a challenge or an issue with somebody else or with some situation in the outside world, some external force, for lack of a better word, right? You can be like, "Oh, I've had enough of that. I need to get away." And be like, "Ugh, I'm taking a break from that person," or, "Oh, I'm gonna go watch TV and not think about that," right? When it's your mental health, you can't do that, right? You can't be like, I just need some space from that. How? How do I get space from that, right? And so you get little breaks when we do little activities, which is why it's so essential to do those things because it provides those small breaks, right? But really, when we're having mental health struggles, right, it's not a battle with an external force, it's a battle within. And so you can't escape. You can't take a break. You can't um, step away and practice the pause, which is something that I teach people a lot about in life, right? Like in order to not be so reactionary to things. But you can't with depression. You can't with mental health struggles. You can't take a break, right? And the battle is with yourself. So no one else is in on the challenge. No one else is experiencing it at the same depth that you are, in the same moments that you are, from the same triggers that you are. So it's a wholly isolating event on top of it, right? And there's something about that that sets the mental health struggles apart from all of the other challenges that I have, the ones that are physical in nature, right? And also the ones that are related to my autism and the way my brain works, right? This has a different layer to it, right? Just a different piece to it because it's not a battle without, it's a battle within. And that is how do we take a break from it? And because we can't, we see so many folks who self-medicate, right? So many folks who self-medicate to the point of making themselves unwell in some other way, right? And so how can, but because it's just in search of that break, I think, in search of, I need a moment of like, psh, right? Shh, because without that respite, right? We become reactionary and vulnerable. And so it's that same thought process, but we have to, there has to be a way in there, right? To take a break, a longer break than just, I don't know, I don't want to say my brain likes to go to dissociation. That's my brain's favorite option for a break. Well, look how bad that is. You can see that I burned myself. I was putting wood in the fire, my very calm fire. And of course, my dyspraxia was like, oh, poop. And so, of course, I burned myself. And now it looks like a horrible wound, but it's on the thin skin on my hands. What are you gonna do? Anyway, I sound like an old lady right now. I hear myself. But that's what I was thinking about is how, besides dissociation, do we take a break from that? How, besides self medication, do we take a break from that? Right. And that's that idea that if we can find our version of meditation, perhaps, if we can find, right, for some people, it's art. And for some people, it's making music. And for some people, it's baking and cooking for other people. And for some, right, it can come to you in these different ways, but I think we seek those breaks, right? Because that mental health battle is just so intense. And so before I go on too long and bore everyone to death about this whole internal struggle that I was dealing with this week, I'd like to know, are you guys also experiencing this? And is it different for you? Are your mental health challenges, do they occupy a different part of you? And do you functionally deal with them in a different way than the other challenges in your life? Because I certainly do. It's different when you're you're fighting yourself, right? Or when you're um even trying to converse with yourself, right? So that's kind of where I was at with these thoughts this week. And that um as I go through another year with this really intense depression and in the most intense part of it, what can I take with me into next year and into the next space next time when I'm not feeling mentally great? So that's where I was thinking about things. And along with that, I've just been taking it really slow because I'm physically exhausted. Like my body is so tired. It just keeps telling me to slow down and stop and don't, and it's enough. And if you just woke up today and took a shower, which I did, that's enough. And things like that. So yeah, I'm feeling it. It's definitely this time of year. I definitely have about 14 minutes and 21 seconds or 22 seconds of energy to give to the world today. But I wanted to make sure that I touched base with you guys on that because I thought what an interesting way to start thinking about it, right? Is, when I need the space to process what's going on for me in my mental health, Do I take it, or can I take it? Is it possible to take it in the same way that I take the space when I'm having other challenges or other areas of frustration and difficulty? Can I take the space to process it? How can I? Right. That's my new quandary and what I will be thinking about going forward. A few things I just want to take some time. Here's the happy side. Let's do the fun stuff now, Becca. I think so. I'm ready. It's fun stuff time, you guys. So, let's talk about how for the next 2 weeks I'm going to take a break. Yay, which means you guys get a break for the next 2 weeks. Um, I am not going to be doing live stream on the 23rd or the 30th of December. I will be back on January 6th for our next Growing Gratitude. So please take the next 2 weeks, go back. You can watch my shorts. You can go back and watch old Growing Gratitudes. You can go back and watch even older Growing Gratitudes and Being Becca Lives if you want to. And you can go through the channel that way, of course. Or you can take some time, go get my book, which is over there, and do a little reading. And then, of course, I want to mostly remind you that the reason I'm taking breaks, even though it is ill-advised in internet land for you to take breaks away from your followers and not do all of these things, but I'm doing it because I want to be real and I want to model for you guys what I really think is healthy for us as autistic people. And that is to make sure we're taking breaks. So I'm taking breaks. I'm taking the next 2 weeks from my group coaching calls, from a few other things, and from Growing Gratitude. And then I'll be back in the new year with you guys with the new word, fructify, right here on my wrist, with a fructify attitude heading forward, where we can think about all the things that I'm hoping to grow my seedlings into, 2 of which are coming your way very early in the new year. Yay, here's the good news. Newsletter is just about ready for you guys. I mean, it is just about ready to get scheduled to come out to you that first week in January when we are back. So not the first week in January, as in, it's January 2nd, because who's going to be thinking about that on January 2nd? But I'm going to let you take that full respite, and I'm going to come on to you on January 6th or so. In that week, I'll be sending out my very first newsletter for the first time again, all over again. So the returning issue of Monthly Musings is back. It will hit your inboxes on the first week of January there. So if you are not yet signed up, please head over to BeccaLoriHector.com. Right there on my homepage, you will see a way to sign up for the newsletter. There's also a link below in the description of this video. So sign up now. It's open to make sure that you get that first new issue. If you're already signed up for the old Monthly Musings, you'll get this one. No worries. It's coming back to you. And with it, right behind on the tails of the newsletter comes my Patreon. I am so excited to be doing this with you guys. This is really the community that I intended to build when I first dropped the course, however many years ago it's been now, so many years ago. And so like 2019, I think it is. But very many years ago, I dropped the course, and I had imagined having a community where we could share tools and share our ideas and share our journeys and our challenges and our celebrations all together as we kind of go on this journey to create the lives that we want to create as thriving autistic people. Right. And I tried to do that, and we had a pandemic and things happened. And, I moved and life changed, but I'm back now and I'm settled. And I am so excited to really be able to build for you guys this new community. I'm going to be doing it through Patreon so that I can limit my time on social media and really focus on our little community. So, if you are part of the Self-Defined Living Facebook group, stay on there. Stay with it. I'm going to be posting things in there soon. People will be joining us in there soon. As soon as the Patreon opens, that is one of the benefits folks are getting. And then if you are signed up for the newsletter, stay there. Or if you are not, sign up now, because Patreon information will be in the newsletter too, and things like that. And I'm going to build us a nice little community bubble where I will be releasing tools and videos exclusively for Patreon and all kinds of other things. And so it's up now, but I am not populating it in this moment. I am going to start with the new year and building all of those things in. So you're welcome to head over there and check out the vibe. You can certainly sign up for free, but I'm not going to be doing anything with it until January. And so I'm going to make a big announcement and remind you that first week that it's open. I will give you the link. I will put it on my social media. I will do all kinds of things. But if you wanted an early sneak peek over there, you certainly can head over there now. And with that, oh, hey, Bernard, hey, Bernard. Oh, Alex, you're in New Zealand. I am in Maine. I am in Maine, United States, almost in Canada, kind of floating out there. That's where I am. But hello from New Zealand. Happy to see you guys. And with that, I guess I'll say yes. New things coming, big things coming. I'm excited for it. We've got a couple of weeks ahead of us of some quiet time, some reflective, restful time. Hopefully, some time that you guys will spend with the people and animals and spaces that you love, do your special interest, take care of you while the rest of the world is focused on itself. You know what I mean? This is a very selfish time of the year for people. They focus very much internally to their families, very right. Everyone hibernates in that way because it's natural. They do that. And so take advantage of that in your own way. Do your own version of that that feels good to you. And then with that, right? Oh my God, it's time. I'm going to switch us back to my well lit sunglasses. And I'm going to say, you guys, this is my reminder for the next 2 weeks that you don't see me for. Please make sure to take care of your meat suit, take care of your headspace, and keep your eyes and ears and fingers and toes open, searching for those glimmers out there, big and small, right? Because those are the things that are going to motivate you. So if it's a quiet morning during the holidays and maybe we get some snow, that's a glimmer to me. And I hope you guys will be looking for your own versions of that. Try not to miss me too much. I know I'll be missing you guys. I'll be taking good notes for my first episode back. Get out there, follow me on social media, keep up with me out there. Please sign up for the newsletter. And of course, look for me on Patreon because it's all coming together. It's all happening, as they say. And I'm excited to do that all with you for 2025. May it be fruitful for all of us. Have a good one, you guys. I'll see you on Monday, January 6th at 11:30 a.m. Eastern for the next Growing Gratitude. And until then, take care of yourself.